other suits and item boxes during the levels and switch between them on the fly. By the time you get to level 3, you're about guaranteed to have all 4 suits with you, so the only point of selecting a suit is deciding what abilities you start out with. And 3, and probably the biggest flaw with the game, the defense suit has a move called the shield punch that is triggered by pressing the C left button while moving the joystick. This attack is twice, if not 3 times as powerful as every other attack in the game, and you can use the attack over and over again at no cost. So the defense suit has a ridiculously overpowered attack, and it can block almost every enemy attack in the game. Why would you ever want to use anything else? The defense suit is to balance combat what a sledgehammer is to a thumb. And the weird thing is, the game's instruction manual actually recommends that experienced players use the offensive nimble suits instead of the standard defense. But let's be honest, do you know anyone who's going to willingly handicap themselves just to enhance the experience of the game that wasn't you by releasing shockwaves to knock you, send you flying back? So it could be a strong boss, but there is one slight problem. Poor bastard never stood a chance. Let's take a moment to discuss the cutscenes. They suck! Every cutscene is just a still image with text dialogue underneath it. All of the dialogue is in text. There is not a single clip of voice acting anywhere in the game, not even the Joker's signature laugh. These cutscenes just seem really cheap. Wasn't Nintendo 64 capable of more than this? The weird thing is, most of these images in these cutscenes aren't even taken from the movie. That's freaking scary! Alright, level 2, Wayne Enterprises. You have to stop another robbery and rescue Bruce from the Joker at the top of the building. This level is exactly the same as level 1, except the 2 of the enemies are a little stronger. Taunt button! Haha! It's a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 reference. It's Deadpool. So after the cliff notes of the movie's flashback scene, you go on to level 4, Tim Drake's laboratory. This level has no enemies. Like, at all. You run forward, you punch a computer, and then you leave. That's it. So then you move on to, wait, what? Final stage? I've only been playing this game for 22 minutes and I'm already on the final stage? What the hell, man? What the hell? The Candy Factory is my favorite level for a few reasons, not the least of which being that we finally get some different music. We have swapped out a 10-second techno loop for a 15-second techno loop. Wait a second, Dark Knight Discus? Batman's throwing weapons are called batarangs, everybody knows that. And that's it. That's all there is to see in the game. You want to know how long it took me to beat this game? From turning the power on to turning the power off? 33 minutes and 53 seconds! That's it, and that's at least 10 minutes of that is unskippable cutscenes. There aren't even any end credits, as if the people who made this game were ashamed of it. I will say that this game isn't pure punishment like The Last Ninja was, but it's dull, it's repetitive, and lest we forget, it's only half an hour long! It's just frustrating because Batman Beyond had so much potential for a good game, and they squandered it on a boring side-scrolling beat-em-up that would have been standard for the NES. How do you make a movie-licensed game that's even shorter than the movie that it's licensed on? How do you do that? And the sad thing is, this is the only one we have. No developer ever since has even attempted a bad guys, and it just goes on and on. Every enemy in the game is fought the same way. Use weak and heavy attacks to pound him into the dirt. If it has armor, use an uppercut and then pound him into the dirt. If he has an electric shield, use lightning and then pound him into the dirt. If he has a fire shield, use wind and then pound him into the dirt. The game doesn't send multiple enemies with different weaknesses at you at once, and once you fight it, you're basically just repeating the same fight over and over and over again, and it gets really boring really fast. Speaking of repeating, the game has quick-time event sequences where a prompt will appear on the screen to swing your remote in a specific direction. And if you screw up the quick-time event, the boss instantly kills you. And the game is so poorly coded that I usually have to swing my remote at least twice for the motion to register properly. And don't blame the Wii! I have played plenty of Wii games where the motion controls work perfectly. This game's programming is just poo. The game looks like shit, and it's not just that the graphics look bad. The animations are varying degrees of choppy the entire time you play, and the game is not appealing to the eye. At best, the game looks like 2/3 of the animation frames are missing, and at worst, it looks like it could have reenacted the game in Microsoft PowerPoint. Chris Hemsworth was great as Thor in the movie, but his voice acting for the game is pretty subpar. Whenever Thor yells in rage at an enemy, it sounds like a guy on riff tracks. It does give you a wide variety of powers and attacks to use, and it does make you feel like you're Thor. It just makes you feel like you're Thor doing mundane chores. It's blatantly clear that the other enemies in the game are nowhere near as strong as you, and it feels like you die because of incompetence rather than because the enemies are formidable. At the start of one of the fire levels, Thor sighs at the sight of more enemies, like he's as tired of this crap as I am. You can find runes and unlock storm tokens to make Thor stronger as you play, but all of the power-ups have such minute effects that you won't even notice any difference as you play. This is especially evidenced by the health and thou shalt not program enemies that have the brains of a squirrel. The instant that you cause a distraction to startle the enemies, every single enemy immediately drops their gun and never even attempts to pick their gun back up again. The enemies just stand up. The game strictly follows the plot of the movie, not even taking the liberty to add scenes like most movie licensed games do. The problem is that, like other bad movie licensed games, Batman Begins does not have a very coherent narrative, and it just assumes that you've already seen the movie. The one scene that the game adds to the movie is a second Batmobile chase so that EA can justify putting Batmobile levels, plural, in the advertising campaigns. That's EA for you, doing the absolute bare minimum to get by. So yeah, there are 2 Batmobile levels, and both of them suck. Being a massive tank, the Batmobile isn't exactly easy to drive, and it handles horribly. I read in Nintendo Power that any halfway competent player could beat the Batmobile levels in one go, and I'm choosing to take this as an insult. There are no health power-ups anywhere in the Batmobile levels, so if you take damage, you're stuck with it. If you do happen to get killed and start back at a checkpoint, the game still doesn't replenish your health, so if you take too much damage early in the level, you'll pretty much be forced to start the level over, not that the game admits that. I understand that it's not exactly realistic to find armor that attaches to your car spontaneously sitting out in the middle of a crowded street, but I'm not exactly worried about realism in a video game about Batman. Okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh. The game does have some high production values, the graphics are good for their time, and the voice acting is very... Oh right, I almost forgot about the man-eating seaweed that kills you instantly. Look at that, that's freaking scary. That scared me to death when I was playing this as a kid. This is what I mean when I say that this game scarred me for life. To this day, when I go swimming in a lake or something like that and I see seaweed, I stay the hell away from that seaweed because it's going to wrap around my leg and drag me straight to hell if I go anywhere near it. And get a look at this. This level's crowning achievement of ass. Just look at it. Because the game's hit detection is so, shall we say, generous, it's just about physically impossible to get through this section without getting hit. And, since we've already established that this game has basically 0 recovery time, these damn plants can suck out all of your health in seconds. And because of the crappy controls, there's nothing that you can do about it. And then, not content to have made this section suck enough, there are at least 2 invisible currents on this screen alone that push you into the seaweed and trap you there. You're just about guaranteed to lose a turtle just on this one screen, let alone the rest of this level. The only possible way that you're going to beat the swimming level is to get to the level with all 4 turtles, either at or near full health, and then just cycle between them as you go. Use one turtle until he's almost dead, and then switch to the next one, and just pray that you can get to the end before you run out of turtles. So I'm dead, of course, and that was my last continue. So now I've got 2 options. I can either start over from the first level and work my way back for a second shot at that swimming level, or I can throw this piece of crap in the trash and play something that doesn't suck! Arcade mode, just the original 7. You'll play the arcade mode with all 7 characters to see the different ending cutscenes, but there aren't any rewards for beating the arcade mode again after that. There's no incentive to go back and replay the arcade mode unless you're bored and in dire need of something to do. And I am. Next is the game's mission mode, where you'll be tasked to do specific things whilst fighting. This game has 51 missions, and it'll keep you busy for, a few hours. If you complete 50 of the missions, you'll unlock the Fugitoid as a playable character and an extra level or 2. But again, there's no prize for replaying the missions after you've beaten them one time. You'll play them once, and then forget about them. There are 6 mini-games, which are mildly amusing. Pizza Party is a clone of Smash Bros. Break the Targets, only with crappy hit detection. Proceed, you have to run to the end of an obstacle course suspended over a bottomless pit. Climb, you have to climb to the top of a tall shaft. In Dodge the Kunai, you have to avoid daggers that are thrown at you from the edges of the screen. In Stay Alive, you have to jump along disappearing blocks. And in Busting Blocks, I have no idea how you play this game. The premise of the movie was that the Turtles and Splinter all had traces of the ooze left in their bodies, and that they further mutated as a result. The game doesn't mention the Shredder as being part of the movie, nor does it say why the film was cancelled, but I'm guessing that it had something to do with Ninja Turtles 3's, failure to impress. So let's recap. So So far, this game has a painfully short story mode, 51 play them once then forget about them missions, 6 awful mini-games, and a repetitive as hell survival mode. The only thing left to do now is play the multiplayer mode. If you play 150 matches, you unlock everything that's left in the game, which amounts to 2 more players and some more few stages. But hold on, those 2 characters give us a total of 15 characters. There are more characters than that, right? There is one more character to unlock after beating the missions, arcade mode, and multiple versus matches. The last character that you unlock in the game, you have to unlock by entering a cheat code. A cheat code that is not given to you in-game. Raving rabbits are mentally retarded bunny rabbits who are characters from recent Rayman video games. Oh, and the Splinter Rabbit isn't dressed up as Splinter from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, he's dressed up as Sam Fisher from the Splinter Cell games. Gee, the Rayman and Splinter Cell games are both made by Ubisoft. I wonder how these characters found their way into the roster. This game was created to mark and celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So what the hell are 3 rabbits from a Rayman game doing in a Ninja Turtles game? This isn't like Kamen Rider Dragon Knight where you've only got 15 characters to use before you have to scrape the bottom of the barrel. Ninja Turtles has been around for 25 years now. They've got a grand total of more than a dozen seasons of television, 4 feature-length movies, 5 if you let me count Turtles Forever, hundreds of comic books, and more video games than I care to count, and Ubisoft had to resort to filling space on the roster with 3 characters from their own franchises who have nothing whatsoever to do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Seriously, let's see how many Ninja Turtles characters that I can list off the top of my head that Ubisoft ignored. Krang, Rocksteady, Bebop, Baxter Stockman, the Rat King, Leatherhead, Toka, Razor, Han, Khan, the Foot Elites, the Foot Misfits, any of them, especially not if they included a character as minor as the Night Watcher, and especially not in a game that's announced as a celebration of the Turtles' 25th anniversary. The developers of this game publicly said that their visual design for this game was based off the 2007 computer-generated movie, so maybe that explains why 10 of the 13 Ninja Turtles characters were just pulled straight out of the movie. And it's not just the small roster of this game that makes it bad, all of the game's characters feel generic. If you list off every character from Super Smash Bros. Brawl, I could tell you a defining characteristic or a special set of moves that makes each character unique. I can't do that for any of the characters from Smash Up. None of the characters have particularly special attacks. None of the characters feel distinctive or unique. All of them control exactly the same. They all just feel bland. This is really annoying as getting stunned happens with no warning. 2, when the computer uses a stun attack, it works every time. But most of the time when I use a stunning attack, nothing happens. Is there something I'm missing? Am I supposed to make a sacrifice to Gamera before I'm allowed to use stunning attacks? Or is it just a game flaw? I'm going to call it a game flaw. It makes me feel less stupid. To prevent players from stun-locking each other and being cheating bastards, if a player sustains a ton of damage in a short time, the player will flash yellow and you can press up to instantly jump away to safety. In theory. This never works. It doesn't work. And it doesn't stop players from being able to abuse stunning attacks either. Even the menus of this game blow chunks. That isn't something that should even be possible. Say that I'm playing the multiplayer mode, add stuff that would make fans happy. But, in the name of fairness, let's take a look at the game's online multiplayer mode. After all, it seems a lot of people these days will excuse any shit game as long as it has a decent online multiplayer. A while back, I played this game online for about an hour. I fought one person. In fact, I fought that one person 5 times in a row because the game could not find anybody else on the planet for me to fight. And keep in mind, the game is programmed to search for opponents until there are 4 fighters in one match, and it doesn't start up with fewer than 4 players unless it's been searching for too long and it's given up. Smash Up also has the exact same online lag that plagues Brawl, meaning that there's about a full 1 second delay between pressing a button and having something actually happen while you're playing online. Each online fight lasts 180 seconds or until one player scores 3 knockouts. But if a player commits suicide, every single aspect about this game makes me want to hunt down its development team, slap them across the face, and shout, "Go back and do it again." The game is criminally short, and it's going to hell for lying. This game is nothing like Super Smash Bros., and you know why? Super Smash Bros. Is actually fun. There is nothing to recommend about this game. It has no lasting appeal. The game has insultingly little content. This is a cheap corporate cash-in. That's all there is to it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Smash Up sucks, and, Well, the Shredder says it best.